Hi, so we are going to set up an ink swatch book today. I will be using my traveler's notebook in passport size. So I'll be using the refill with the blank pages for this. Okay. And I'll go and show you how I set it up. And as I do, I'll talk a little bit about why people create swatch books and also why they put in what they put in. So again, I'll be using the Traveler's Notebook in with plain pages. It's the one that's colored maroon. I'll start by, I don't know if I can put this. I want to put this sticker there. Just so I know that it is a swatch book. I got this sticker as a sweet little freebie from a place that I bought inks from. It's very cute and it reminds me a lot of the first ink that I bought with it, which is a J.R. Bond ink. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, I didn't know too at the beginning. It is, in fact, one of the more expensive inks. I only mention it because if I had known, perhaps I would have bought a slightly different ink, because now I have tons of it. And I didn't know that I could have gotten something just a tiny bit cheaper. And so on this page, I will be writing ink swatch book. I'll be writing the year and I will be drawing lines here. So I'm going to be using this underlay from, if I'm not mistaken, it's from this year, 2023 rep, says right there. It's like a special edition underlay from the Traveler's Notebook. All right, and because this is my favorite pen, it's a TWSBI Diamond 580. It's my first purchase too. It has a nice ink inside, and it will be the first ink that I will be putting in today. All right, so I hope I do this right. Okay, let's go ahead and start. Okay. So why do people create ink swatch books? Okay, all right, that should work. Just go ahead and write ink on top. Okay, let me put book at the bottom. Okay, that looks okay. And then let me just write 2022 as the year that I started. Now you can see that the underlay is a really good guide. It really helps me keep my penmanship mostly neat. All right, so as I was saying, why do people need a swatch book? A lot of people on YouTube, and I've been watching quite a few of them, have talked about how they wish that they started with their swatches early in the game. And I was a bit confused, like, why would you even want to make a swatch book? And I watched a few more of these, I watched a few more ideas to make 3. Okay, suppose that's good. I watched a few more of these, or maybe I just do 3. 3, 6. All right. 1, 2, 3, 6, and 9, and then space at the bottom. Yeah, maybe I just do 3. So why do people make swatches? Well, I watched this episode on Goulet pens, and Brian was talking about it, and he talked about how it was a visual inventory of the inks that you have with you. It helps you track what you have, and it helps you note exactly which inks that you have in your collection and how they look. Okay, apparently I am doing more on a page than I thought I would, but okay, let's see if this works. Looks quite good for me. And then I also read up on how people have been using this as its own journaling experience. So they track the inks that they bought, what exactly the name is, if it has any special properties, when they bought it, and even where they bought it. So it's some sort of like a memory thing, like a memory book for them. Okay, let me just put this in. I'm not sure if I should just go all the way through. This might be better, more visually appealing. All right, let's just have one more. So for this one, I am using a Faber-Castell Ambition pen with a medium ink. I'll be talking about this pen later. It is quite an important sentimental pen for me, so I do like talking about this pen. All right, so as you can see, I am learning as I'm making this. I've never made a book like this before, and so yeah. So yes, so you put in a swab of it, of whatever ink, right? And what you want to do, of course, is you want to write the name of the ink, and you want to write you want to swab, and then you want to write the name of the ink. Now you want to do that because perhaps for this one I'll just go for something just a little bigger. I want to see how I feel about the sizes. So for this one, maybe I'll go for something this big so I know how I feel. Maybe 3. Yeah, 3 sounds good. And then I get to have like a feel for how I want it. So yeah. Now, when it comes to 1, 2, 3, the different properties that you want to write, so you do want to write the name of the ink, where the ink's from. So there are a few very solid places that make ink. 1, 2, 3. These, of course, could be the J.R. Bond. It could be Diamond or Diamine or Diamond. Different people have different pronunciations for that particular ink. Okay, let me see. All right, that looks good. Okay, let's remove that little ink there. Then of course I want to put a little bit of a blotter paper there to make sure it doesn't go off to the next ink. That's what you call this. There are special papers for this. Some people even use leather as their sort of blotter paper. I just got some origami paper, and I tried it on one of my notebooks, and it looked like a pretty good piece of paper to use. So I'm using that. Oh no, got ink on it. Okay, never mind. Okay, for this one, yeah, I think 4 seems good. Okay, maybe for this one I'll do 8, just to see which one I prefer. And that will, of course, be part of my journey as well. Okay, so yeah, each ink has its own different properties. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have what they call the standard ink. A standard ink is basically an ink with no special properties. It's just ink, right? So if it says it's sort of a red, then it's just a red. If it says it's sort of a blue, then it's a blue. But then you have other types of ink. One is called the dual shading ink. Some places call this a chameleon ink. Basically, what it does is that when you write with it, just with one pen, there will be parts where You'll see one color, say a blue color, and then in other parts you'll see, say, a purple hue, or in some cases even like a blue hue or a red hue, even if you're writing with an ink that is basically a blue ink. That's called the dual shading ink. Some places call it their chameleon ink. And then you have another special property that's called the shimmer ink. Now, the shimmer ink is basically an ink with, okay, wait, let me get this line straight. It's basically an ink that, which has glitter, okay? So they just add that to the ink, and basically, if you use that ink, it will, okay, this is actually a little trickier than I thought. It will create some sort of shine or shimmer on your paper, regardless of the paper. Well, almost regardless of the paper. I'm still learning that bit. And then of course there is what they call the sheen ink. And so basically when they say that an ink has sheen, that means that the pigments used for that particular ink, the properties of the dye or the pigments used for that particular ink creates a sort of a shine to it, like a very special shine to it. And for that you require a special kind of paper, one that is not so absorbent, so that you see it clearly. Okay, this will be, I would think, my last page to make, and then I'll do the rest of my own, and then we will come back when I'm ready to put up my first swatch. Okay. All right, so again, there are for now, I know 4 different types of ink. You have your standard one, which is just the ink. It doesn't have any special properties. It doesn't have any sheen. It doesn't have any shimmer. It's not dual shading or what they call a chameleon. Oops, I forgot. There is another one. This is the scented ink, okay, which may not have any of the other properties, with the additional property of scent. Okay, so you have your standard, your sheen, your shimmer, your scented. All right, and so with the sheen, there are special dyes or pigments that they put in, so that if you write it in a base color, there will be another color that you will see, usually on its surface. And for that, you need a special type of paper that is not so absorbent. Then you have your shimmer inks that is not so picky with its choice of paper. That one just has glitter in it, and basically when you use it, it leaves the glitter on top of the paper fiber, and that creates a shimmer. And then you have the scented one, which could be any of the ones I've mentioned, but seriously, I've only seen it in standard. And it just gives off a scent, and some of the scent's good, and some I heard aren't as good. I have yet to experience that. Okay, so I think I'm done with my first few pages. I want to try this one particularly, before I decide what to do with the next pages. So in the first page, you see that I have the title, which is basically Ink Swatches Book 2022, so I know when I started it. Then on the first one, I put in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just put this like general comments because I think it's too small. So I might be able to put 5 inks there. Then here I'm going to try and put 4 different inks. I will repeat that experience here, and then here I'll be putting in only 3 inks and see how that works with my penmanship. And then after I've sort of thought about it, I will try and complete the other pages. All right, so here we go. Thank you for joining me as I made my first ink swatch book, and I hope you find this helpful for when you make your own. All right, so again, if you want to have more of these beginning sort of experiences, and I hope you do, please do subscribe so that you can get front row seats as I go through it. All right, I'll see you in a bit when I'm ready for my first swatch.